Help me get to 1,000 subscribers. Please support the video by hitting like and sharing your thoughts in the comments. I read every single comment. Thank you. I hadn't intended to say anything that evening. The wine was meant to smooth the edges, not strip me bare. It was a quiet Friday night, the kind we'd been having more frequently. No plans, no fights, just a low, steady rhythm of life that had settled into something predictable. My husband, Daniel, sat across from me at the kitchen island, scrolling through his phone while I refilled my glass for the third time. I told myself I was just relaxing, but the truth is the alcohol loosened something I'd been holding back for years. My name is Emma.
I'm 38.
I've been married to Daniel for 12 years. From the outside, our life looked solid: good jobs, a tidy house, weekend habits, holidays with family, the kind of relationship people describe as stable. And for a long time, I thought that was enough. I didn't expect constant fireworks. I understood that passion fades, that love grows into something quieter over time. But there's a difference between peaceful and hollow. Didn't realize how far we drifted into the second until that night. Daniel used to look at me when I spoke, not just glance up, but really see me. He used to ask questions, laugh at my dry humor, reach for my hand without thinking. Somewhere along the way, that disappeared. Conversations became transactions. Did you pay the bill? What time are you leaving tomorrow? What should we eat? Even when we sat in the same room, it felt like we were living parallel lives, moving side by side, but never touching. I tried to fix it quietly. New routines, planned date nights he forgot about, small gestures meant to remind him I was still there. I bought the wine thinking it might make the night feel lighter, easier. Instead, it made me truthful. Daniel set his phone down to grab a beer, and when he came back, he asked casually, "You okay? You've been quiet." It wasn't concern, it was an observation, and something inside me snapped. I laughed first, a short, sharp sound that surprised both of us. "Do you ever feel like we're just roommates?" I said it like a joke, but my voice trembled. He frowned, confused, then shrugged. "I think that's just marriage sometimes," he replied. Practical, dismissive, final. The wine burned in my chest, and before I could stop myself, the words kept spilling out. I told him I felt invisible. I told him I missed being wanted, not just relied on. Told him I felt lonely sitting beside him every night. Daniel listened without interrupting. That should have comforted me, but it didn't. His face stayed neutral, almost detached, like he was waiting for me to finish a presentation at work. When I finally stopped talking, the silence stretched. I expected him to argue, to reassure me, to say he felt the same and didn't know how to fix it either. Instead, he exhaled slowly and said, "I didn't know you felt that way. Not I'm sorry, not let's work on it." Just an acknowledgement, flat and careful. I kept going, fueled by alcohol and years of restraint. I admitted I sometimes wondered what it would feel like to be with someone who still saw me, someone who noticed when I changed my hair, who reached for me without obligation. I didn't say I wanted to cheat. I didn't say I had. I was confessing a feeling, not plan. But the moment the words left my mouth, something shifted in his eyes. The softness I'd been craving vanished. He straightened, folded his arms, and looked at me like I was a stranger. "So that's where this is going," he said. His voice was calm, but colder than I'd ever heard. I tried to explain, tried to pull the words back, but he cut me off. "You're unhappy," he said. "You've been unhappy for a while, and instead of talking to me, you drank and told me you're thinking about other men." I opened my mouth to correct him, but he stood up. Daniel grabbed his keys and wallet, his movements controlled and precise. "I'm going for a drive," he said. "I don't want to say something I can't take back." He didn't raise his voice. He didn't slam the door. He just left. I sat there alone, staring at my half-empty glass, realizing I'd finally said the truth out loud. And whatever came next, there was no undoing. The house felt different after he left, like the walls were listening. Cleaned the kitchen even though it was already spotless. I rinsed the same glass twice and checked my phone for a message that never came. Midnight passed. Then 1 o'clock. The wine haze faded, replaced by a sharp clarity that hurt more than any hangover. I replayed every sentence, every look on Daniel's face, wondering if honesty had finally crossed into harm. When the front Door opened around 2 a.m. I flinched. Daniel stepped inside quietly, set his keys down, and removed his jacket. He didn't look angry. He looked resolved, which somehow frightened me more. He sat across from me at the table, the same place. We'd been hours earlier, and for a moment, neither of us spoke. I drove around for a while, he said. Finally, I thought about what you said. His voice was steady, almost gentle. And I need to be honest too. I nodded, bracing myself. He told me he hadn't been happy either, that he felt disconnected, tired, unsure how to bridge the distance between us anymore. Then he said something I wasn't ready to hear. When you said you wondered what it would be like with someone else, he continued, I realized I've already accepted that. We're not that for each other anymore. The words settled slowly, like snow piling, up until the weight became impossible to ignore. He explained that he loved me, but not in the way that builds a future, not in the way that fights for one. He'd stayed because it was easier than admitting we were coasting on shared history. He thought stability meant success. He thought silence meant peace. I didn't feel blindsided tonight, he said. I felt confirmed. I asked if he wanted to try to work on us, counseling, time apart, anything. He shook his head, not cruelly, not dismissively, just honestly. I don't think fixing this would make either of us happy, he said. I think it would just make us better at pretending. That hurt more than anger would have. There was no villain in his version of the story, just two people who waited too long to speak. We talked until dawn about the good years, about when things shifted, about how neither of us cheated, but both of us checked out in quieter ways. He admitted he'd grown comfortable not trying.
I admita ide grown resentful.
From feeling unwanted. Somewhere between exhaustion and acceptance, the decision formed without either of us naming it. We weren't going to keep living like this. The following weeks felt unreal. No screaming matches.
No dramatic blow-ups.
Just paperwork conversations dividing a life built on routines. Friends were shocked. But you two never fight, they said, as if that had been proof of love. Instead of avoidance, Daniel moved out, first into a small apartment across town. The night he took the last box, we hugged for a long time. It wasn't romantic. It was grateful for the years we tried, for the honesty that finally came, even if it came late. Living alone was quieter than I expected. At first, the silence felt accusatory. Then it felt like relief. I noticed how much space I'd been shrinking myself into, how often I swallowed thoughts just to keep things smooth. I wasn't suddenly happy, but I was lighter. I stopped drinking wine just to numb the evenings. I slept better. I laughed more, sometimes, for no reason at all. Daniel and I still talk occasionally. We're kind to each other. There's no bitterness, just a shared understanding that love can fade without exploding. Sometimes people ask if I regret that night, if I wish I'd kept my feelings to myself. The truth is, the alcohol didn't create the honesty. It only removed my last excuse to stay quiet. Speaking my truth didn't end my marriage. It revealed that it had already ended. His response wasn't cruel or dramatic. It was calm, clear, and final. And as painful as it was, it gave me something I didn't know I needed more than comfort or familiarity. It gave me permission to stop pretending that quiet misery was the same thing as love.